In this video, we're going to take a look at a logical function. We're going to look at the OR function. Logical functions are functions that return a logical value. Logical values are just true or false. Those are the only two possibilities. So what we have here is we have a grade book, and it's really simple. We've got 2 grades for each student, and the rule is they have to pass the homework by having a score of at least 70. And they have to pass the test by having a score of at least 65. So we're going to compare everybody's score to the numbers up here. And another way of saying that is the student fails if they fail either the homework or they fail the test. So this is the exact same problem that was down here on our AND tab, but we're looking at it kind of from the other direction. Before we were looking at a condition to see if they passed. This time we're looking at a condition or a logical test to see if they failed. Okay, so we're asking the opposite question. We're asking not did they pass, but did they fail? And so we'll put a logical value in here, and he did not fail. If we look at George, he did not fail the homework, he did not fail the test. We should end up with false here, and then false over here. If either one of these is true for any one of these students, then I want the value true to appear over here, and then we'll use that in an if function over here in column D. So let's get started. Let's take a look at George, and we want to see if George failed the homework. George failed the homework, so it's going to be just a logical test, no function. We're just comparing two things. We're comparing this number. We're going to see if B5 is less than what's up here in B2. B2 is not going to move when I copy the formula, so I need to put dollar signs in. So you can hit function key F4 to put the dollar signs in, and then we're going to tab over. And we should get false for George because he did not fail the homework. Now in column H, we're going to check and see if he failed the final test. Well, he failed the final test if his test score in C5 is less than what's up here in C2, which is an absolute cell reference. So I need to put the dollar signs in that as well. And we can copy both of these now at the same time. Let's just get our fill handle and drag that down. And so now we're looking for people who failed. So we can see that John failed the final. Thomas failed the homework. James failed the homework. And down here, Andrew failed the homework. So we should have 4 people failing. Looks like we've got 8 students, so 4 are passing and 4 are failing. So now I want to know if they failed either one. And when you see the word either or any or at least one, then we're talking about the OR function. And that's on the Formulas tab. We're going to go to the logical group here, and we're going to choose the OR function. Okay? And we see a list of function arguments come up just like we did with the AND function. And I put a logical test in here. Well, my first logical test for George is did he fail the homework? And that is G5. And then click or tab down into logical test number 2. And the second one is, did he fail the test? And so click on H5 or type H5 in. And again, just like with the AND function, when you tab down to the last box, the last logical test box, it will open up a new one for you. And you can have as many as 255, but again, you rarely need more than 3 or 4 at the most. Okay, so I see a value of false over here. I see a value of false over here. And the result of the computation, the value that the function will return is false. And I'm going to click on OK. So George did not fail either one. Therefore, I get a false value here. And I'm just going to double click in the lower right hand corner now with the fill handle. And it fills in the rest of them for me. And now any place where I see true, it means that they failed the course. So this guy's going to fail the course. This guy's going to fail the course down here. James is going to fail the course, and Andrew is going to fail. So those are the 4 places where I should see F's, and the remaining ones here are where I should see students who pass. So now we're ready to use the if function. The if function is not necessary if all you need is a value true or false. You can use a simple logical test like we did in column G or column H. You can use a logical function like we did in column I. But if you want something other than true or false, then you use the if function. So let's go up here to our logical group on the Formulas tab, and let's choose if. And my logical test is right over here in I5. And if that's true, this time it means that they failed. So I got to put an F in there. And Excel will put the quotation marks in. And if it's false, it means that they pass. I'm going to put a capital P in there. And again, Excel will put the quotation marks in. And it gives me the formula result down here. And George did pass. So this is computing correctly. Let's click on OK. And now let's go get our fill handle in the lower right hand corner here and just double click. And it will copy it all the way down. And we see that, as we were hoping, that these 4 students failed and the other ones passed. Okay. Now, with the AND function, we said you don't have to do all this stuff. You know, it's usually easier when you're first learning if you just kind of break it down into small pieces and then put the pieces together like we did over here in column D. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete all this stuff right now. And we've got some formulas here now. Everybody passes because it's checking to see if there's a false value over there, and if nothing is there, it treats that as false. And I'm going to delete these formulas now as well. And we're just going to start with George here, and we're going to double click, and we're just going to write the whole thing from scratch without using any helper columns over on the right. So equals if, and then I want the logical test. The logical test is the OR function. So the word OR, and then open parentheses for the arguments to the OR function. The first argument to the OR function is, did the student fail the homework? Well, the student failed the homework, in this case, if B5 is less than $B $2. That's our first logical test. They also failed if the following is true, if C5 is less than $C $2. Okay, close the parentheses. That's the end of the OR, which is the end of my logical test. So now I can type a comma. And when I do, my little help text down here will switch from logical test over to value of true. So I'm going to type a comma. The value of true, it means that they failed. So I'm going to put an F here. And you do have to put the quotation marks if you're typing it out. And the value of false, to type another comma, and now it's asking for value of false. And the letter P, close parentheses. That ends the if function. It's black, so we know that it's the last one. And then hit enter. And George did pass. Now let's get our fill handle for that function and double click. And again, we see the exact same results we saw before, except we don't need the helper columns over here to try and figure out whether they passed or failed. Either way works. You know, whichever you're more comfortable with is the one that you should use. And that's about it for the OR function.